So I'm going to show you all of my little tips and tricks on how to use the BeautyPro Symmetry app. So this was a mapping in progress. So they're not even right now, but I thought that would be kind of even better to show you guys how I do this. So first of all, you want to take the photo super straight on, and little things like if you look at the tail of her brow and you look at the space from the tail of her brow to her hairline on both sides, you look at her ears, you look at how far her ears are sticking out. Like this picture looks like it was taken slightly off because the ear on the left side of the screen is slightly more exposed. It looks like there might be a tiny bit more space between the tail of her brow and where her hairline starts on that side. So the photo actually could be slightly off. So when you take your photo, look at all of those different points. Look at from the corner of their eye to where their hairline starts. Look at the tail of their brow to where their hairline starts. Look at their ears to see how much of their ears are exposed. Look at all of those different points to make sure that you're actually taking the photo super perfectly straight on, right in front of their face, perfectly even with their face. And then once you have that down, and you can take the photo outside of the app and then put it in the app, or you can take the photo within the app. I usually take the photo within the app, but this obviously is a photo that I took outside of the app and then put in here. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to zoom in. I like to zoom in till like as much as I can with still having both brows in the picture. I like to have their hairline in the picture too, because I use that to check. So first it's this white line right here. So you want to line it up. BeautyPro, they teach you to line it up with their lash line. They teach you to do this with their eyes closed and line it up with their natural lash line. But I find there's more room for error there because sometimes it's just hard to see. If they have thick mascara on, if they have lashes, if they have eyeliner on, sometimes it's hard to tell where their lashes are. So I prefer to do it with their eyes open, and I line it up with their pupil. What I also found is that I use a little mini selfie ring light. It's only about 3 inches wide, and it just clips right onto your phone, goes right over your phone's camera, and that's how I'm getting that ring light reflection. And the ring light reflection always matches up with their pupil, and it makes it so it's giving you something that you can see really clearly. So I line this white line up with the ring light reflection. If you don't have that option, line it up with their pupil. So I line it up with that. You want to try to get it as perfect as you can. Then, oh, and the white slider bar on the right side of the screen with the gray dot in the middle of it, I am sliding that dot up and down. That's how I'm rotating this photo. So we're going to get it lined up really good. Then I'm going to hit freeze, because freeze is going to make it so the picture won't move when I try to move these lines. So now that I have that white lined up, then I'm going to go to the midline. So I'm going to bring this red line to the midline. I'm going to pull it over to the front of her head. That looks pretty right on. And several points that I'm also going to check, I'm going to pull these sliders over to the corner of her eye. See how it's lining up with the corner of her eye? I'm going to pull it over to the edge of her iris. Now see how it looks slightly off there? There's more space on the right side than there is on the left. And I bet there's going to be even more when I slide over to the outer. See how it's touching her iris on the right side, but there's space there? That's because, like I thought in the beginning, this picture is not taken perfectly straight on. And if things look really lined up closer to her nose, still lined up here, lined up corner of her eye, almost lined up, and then the further out you go, the more off it looks, that's an indication that your picture wasn't taken perfectly straight on. So check the head, check corner of the eye, check the edge of the iris, check the outer edge of the iris, check the corner of the eye, go out to the tails of her brow, go out to her hairline. And then even pull this picture in a little bit more too. You can even take this line and pull it to like her cheekbones. It's hard to see with the mask on, but you can line it up with all of these different points to check your symmetry. And you'll be able to tell if it's equally off no matter where you are, it's probably your midline was off. If it's on in the center and the further out you go, it starts to get off, that probably means your picture was not taken perfectly straight on. So once you get that figured out, let me zoom back in a little bit more. Then, put this back. Then we're gonna check our other points. So I'm gonna go to the top of the brow. I can see now that on the right side there, it's higher than on the left, at that top point of her arch. Then we're gonna take this other one, we're gonna put it right at the beginning of the head. That looks pretty right on. And then we're gonna take this one and we're gonna go down here. It looks like the right side is just a touch lower. Then we're gonna take one of these lines and we're gonna go to the lower arch. So I'm gonna look at the right side here. I'm gonna put it right onto the arch on the right side. And look, that side's way lower. Also look at the tail. Look at this line in relation to the tail. So I'm right at the tip of the tail on the left side, but I have a gap there. So this is showing me that in the fronts of the brow, they're pretty close on. But as the right brow starts to angle up towards the arch, it's higher because the top arch is higher, the lower arch is higher, and the tail is higher. So I need to lower that whole side or raise the other side up. But I would lower this though, because you can see she's got quite a bit more hair on the underside of the brow on the right. So other ways that I would check is I would take these sliders here and see this point right here, the line that I drew right through her brow. I also check to see the gap between the top of the outline and the black line above it. See how there's a lot more space between those two? I can also pull this one up. Now look at the right side. Pull this one up. I'm gonna make it so this line that I'm moving is intersecting with this line and the outline that I drew. So that's the exact point that is starting. So I look over here on the other side, so we know that that brow needs to get lowered, or if I move this line up to the left brow, we know that the right side, that needs to be pulled up just that little bit there. And then I can do the same thing with the arch too. I can like slide this over to see what point it is that things start changing. Do you get what I'm saying? So you can use all these different, you can use these sliders to check things at all sorts of different points. I love this app. It works so awesome.